calling the Wednesday, November 13th, 2024 Economic Development Commission meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend in person, or the public may also watch this meeting online at burnsvillemn.gov/meetings, or view us on Comcast channel 16 or 859. The public can also join us on Zoom by going to zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meetings webpage and in the agenda. Now, on to the agenda. The next item is to go ahead and adopt tonight's agenda. Do any members of the commission have any changes to the agenda? Staff, do you have any changes?
No changes from staff.
All right. May I get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor of adopting the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any nays? Abstained? Okay, motion carried. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the September 11th, 2024 Economic Development Commission meeting minutes. Commission members, are there any changes to the minutes? Staff, any changes to the minutes?
No changes from staff.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Abstain? Motion carried. Next, we will hand it over to Beth Weber to go over our home loan and grant programs update.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for being here tonight. So this item is one that you had all requested information on at our last meeting, and so we wanted to pull together an update and bring that forward for you just for your informational purposes. So there's a number of city programs that we have. These were adopted or established as part of our economic development strategic plan that we currently have. That's from November of 2018. As you know, we have 5 goals, and goal number 4 is enhancing and building awareness around the city's existing housing and commercial programs. So if you'll remember, in 2019, City Council gave us direction to fund a home rehab program through the city, and funds were budgeted in 2020 and 2021. It was delayed because of COVID uncertainty, but the housing plan work was done at the end of 2020 and adopted in January of 2021. So that came to be through an inventory of existing programs and community needs. And we had 4 main objectives when we were developing our program. Creating a direct lending program for maintenance and improvements, marketing the housing initiatives and resources, providing technical assistance and education, and then promoting energy efficiency and sustainability. And one thing to note, all of our programs are administered by CEE, the Center for Energy and Environment. So the first program or loan that we implemented was a home improvement loan. It provided a 3% interest rate to homeowners, allows for monthly payments to be made. There are income limits, and then the loans could be between $20,000 and $50,000 depending on the funds available, for terms of 10 to 20 years. The income restrictions were no less than 80% of area median income and no greater than 120%. And then when thinking about uses for these funds, most interior, exterior improvements, maintenance, or remodeling. And as of right now, we have 5 active loans in the program. The next product that we developed was a senior deferred loan. So this provided a 2% interest rate to homeowners, no monthly payment. It would be paid at the time of sale, transfer, or residency changes. At least one of the borrowers needed to be 65 or older, and they were in smaller loan amounts of $10,000 to $15,000 for a term of up to 30 years. The income of applicants was at a level of 100% or below area median income. And then similar uses were allowed under, or are allowed rather, under that program of most interior, exterior improvements, maintenance, or remodeling. And we have 6 active loans in this program. Code Cash was the other program that we developed in coordination with our Neighborhood Services Department. So this provides grants of up to $2,000 with a 50% match provided by the homeowner. And there has to be a property maintenance code violation and 2 of the following criteria of being either socioeconomic disadvantage, 65 or older, or if there's a risk to life or safety. Excuse me. The 2024 budget includes $15,000 for this program, and we have 1 pending application at this time. We also provide a senior household item pickup, which is kind of a unique option for folks that live in Burnsville. It's for residents age 65 and older, up to $300, and allows for removal of appliances, furniture, electronics, and it can be done either from the curb or from within the person's residence. We allocate $3,000 in the budget for this program. We had 4 grants dispersed in 2023, 1 so far this year, and 2 are pending. And the most common items, just as a note, are typically TVs, couches, and we've had a piano removed. So moving on to programs that the Dakota County CDA, or Community Development Agency, provides. They have a number of programs available, loans, weatherization, and then some education opportunities for folks that live in the community. So the Rehab and Home Improvement Loan has a variety of funding sources, notably the CDBG, Home, and HOPE. It's for low and moderate income folks, $15,000 to $35,000, and then this runs kind of on a fiscal year program, and so the loans in process, I can't just say for 2024 only, so it's related to fiscal years. And in 2024, there were 7 loans in process and 6 residents on the wait list, and fiscal year 2024 started on July 1st. So just as we're thinking about that. These funds are commonly used for roof replacements, furnace, electrical and plumbing repairs, insulation, and special needs improvements such as ramps or bathroom and kitchen modifications. They provide a weatherization program, which is a joint effort with CAP, the Community Action Partnership of Scott, Carver, and Dakota counties, and then the CDA as well. So these weatherization services provide cost-effective energy efficiency measures for existing residential and multifamily housing with low-income residents. And then you'll see that in fiscal year 2023, 13 weatherization projects were completed in Burnsville. Some of the education that they provide, so they have 2 different kind of tracks of education. They have a homestretch homebuyer program, which teaches about the entire home buying process and the responsibilities that come with homeownership. And then they have what they call a pre-purchase counseling, which provides individual sessions for homeowners with trained either CDA staff or industry trained staff like realtors or similar folks to answer questions about homeownership and help them with a financial plan to set them up for success. Moving on to statewide programs. So the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency has a fix-up fund, which provides loans from $2,000 to $75,000, depending on whether they're secured or unsecured loans. And then they have home energy loans for $30,000 to $60,000, again, depending on whether they're secured or unsecured. And in 2023, 7 loans were issued to Burnsville residents, and so far in 2024, we've had 2. These are also programs that are managed by CEE, so it's a nice, consistent setup for residents of Burnsville. And then just some alternate programs that are available for Burnsville residents. The county has septic system assistance loans, grants, and assessment options. And then through the city, we kind of have some creative ways to maybe enhance someone's home. whether it be through the water resource grant for rain gardens or shoreline restoration. We have a smart irrigation water bill credit. Our building department puts on a homeowners workshop where you can kind of learn about ways to renovate your home or how to apply for a permit or get a contractor. And then if you attend that workshop, you get a $25 credit towards a future building permit. And then finally, we have a housing improvement area, which is available for homeowners associations and condos to utilize for their common areas, kind of the bigger ticket renovations. And there's a long list of criteria and a policy that goes along with that. But that's also an option as well.
What is the smart irrigation water?
I'll admit I didn't pull all of the criteria. There is information on our website, and there's an application that you can fill out, but it's up to a $200 credit for your water bill.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly. So that kind of rounds out the programming available for residents of Burnsville. Certainly willing to answer any questions. It was a quick high-level overview.
Is that home improvement loan program, the first one you mentioned, is that annually funded or is it a 3-year type of thing?
No, it's annually funded.
Okay. And what is the maximum funding on it?
That the city allocates. For 2024, $100,000 was allocated to the program. And at my last check with them a couple weeks ago, there were still funds available. When the funds run out, then we kind of turn off the advertising of it and you're not able to click on it on the website.
I was speaking with some friends and neighbors about this meeting tonight and mentioned that this was on the agenda, and one thing that I had heard was that she had wanted to apply for the program for one of the fix-it loans, but there's maybe like a timeline situation where you have to get the work completed within 6 months.
Yep.
Are there opportunities to adjust that, given that certain types of work, like think on top of roofs, can't happen for certain times of the year? So you might get your estimate, but then by the time you get on somebody's calendar and you get it approved, now you're running out of time and you're not able to sort of make those line up.
Sure.
Is there room for grace in that, or does that need to be revisited to discuss grace in that, given that we've got 6 months of not really working time?
That's an excellent question, and certainly something that we can add to the list of things to reevaluate. Our contract with CEE to administer these programs does end in 2024, and so as part of that contract review, we would be reviewing the policies as well, certainly with an opportunity to bring that back to City Council for discussion and maybe some changes.
Good.
Anything else for Beth on this agenda item?
That's for the home improvement loan.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of back-end kind of follow-up, especially if the funds are used for do-it-yourself materials? And is there some kind of collaboration that individual can have with the city in terms of, are there any recommended contractors that the individual can work with, or how do we, help the applicant throughout the process? But also, is there kind of some back-end follow-up just to make sure that the work was done?
Sure. So part of the contract with CEE is that they do inspections and follow-up work. And so there would be an inspection done by CEE staff to make sure that the project was completed prior to disbursement of the funds.
Okay.
So, great question.
Where's all of this advertised? Like, surprisingly, I had not heard of any of these until I was reading through the materials for tonight.
Certainly.
And so that was a little bit kind of shocking that I hadn't heard of any of them.
Absolutely. Great question. It is located on our website. We have a homeowners resources page, but specific to kind of the loan programs and resources, everyone can go to burnsvillemn.gov/homework. It's kind of the tagline that we implemented for all of these programs, and all the resources are on our website.
But so you have to be proactive in looking for it. How would just someone who didn't even think to look for it
Sure.
know about it?
We have done print advertising in the Burnsville Bulletin previously, and as we look to advertising for what could be available in 2025, that's certainly something that we can take into account in ways to market that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I had the same thought the first time I saw it, Vicky. I was like, this is like a year ago or
Oh my
whatever, but
We
I was
just did
like,
a whole
wait,
bunch of
what?
home improvement. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Beth, are commercial lenders aware of the program? I mean,
Yeah.
would they point people in this direction?
Great question. I'm not sure if they would point people in this direction, simply because if a homeowner was seeking funding from their personal bank, I can't really see that a bank would send them to a different funding entity.
It could depend, though. In a case where a homeowner may want 50,000, the bank's only willing to give 20.
Sure.
Then they might say, well, go to this resource,
Sure.
that type of thing.
Yep, that's a great question.
One other opportunity I was thinking of for visibility and awareness is at the schools. 'Cause so many times a school counselor or a social worker knows whose families are maybe struggling, might need some support, or be able to make their home much more supportive for them by relieving some stress. So connecting with resources, their residents right at the front lines.
For sure. Great feedback.
Or even contractors themselves. Somehow having like I don't know, contacting contractors around the area to let them know that they can help. You know, like maybe you're putting off doing some work
Sure.
because you can't afford it, and yeah.
Oh, great feedback. It gets a little bit sticky relating to contractors because as a government entity, we're not able to recommend a specific contractor to a resident or a business. But certainly something maybe to have more publicly facing if a contractor were to come into City Hall and they could, grab a brochure.
Yeah, like when they apply for a permit.
Right.
You've got them.
That's a great idea.
You know they're working in Burnsville.
Definitely.
Beth, is the 120% kind of income cap, is that dictated by statute, or you just a standard cap that the city uses for various programs? And it also, I presume that's household as well.
Correct. It is household. Yes. Great question. So, the CEE manages kind of the loan application and review and administration of the program for us. So short of us, as a city kind of setting those parameters, CEE manages that on our behalf.
Anything else? All right, we'll pass it to Beth again to do our business resources update.
All right. So this is another item that you all had kind of requested a refresh or an update on the programs available to the businesses that are located here in Burnsville. Certainly a great opportunity to showcase the resources that we have available, both from a city level, county, and state level as well. So when we think about the city resources as they stand right now, we have our development project finder map, which is one of the most viewed pages on our website, which our department is very proud of. And this is where we highlight all of the development and redevelopment here in Burnsville. Kevin manages this for us. And the new version of the map has some really great filtering options. You can search by address, whether the project is proposed, approved, completed. You can zoom in or out on the map, and when you zoom in, it actually switches to a satellite photo, so you can kind of orient yourself a little bit more. And it's a really great resource for our business and residents here in Burnsville. We also have a commercial property map finder. So this map provides an interactive listing of commercial, industrial, and office property for sale or lease. This certainly is not an exhaustive list. There's an opportunity for brokers to submit the properties that they have available, and then we update the map accordingly. But we find that it can be a really great starting point for folks when they're saying, what do you have available? And Again, kind of in the instance that we're not able to recommend a broker, we can recommend that they check out the commercial property map, and hopefully they can deduce it that way of resources that they might be able to find. And then finally, the Grow Minnesota business visits. This is a partnership that we've had with the Burnsville Chamber since 2020, and it supports business retention and engagement, and it gives the city an opportunity with the chamber to have individual confidential business visits with businesses in Burnsville. It provides us an opportunity to create a connection, and the thing that I typically say during those visits is that I want to be the friendly face at City Hall for businesses. So if you have an off-the-wall question, you want to know what construction is going on somewhere, you want to find new space, you need a sign, whatever it is, that I can be the person for that business to reach out to. And so it's been a really great partnership between us and the Burnsville Chamber. And then these are just pictures of our development project finder map and then the commercial real estate map, just so you can kind of see what they look like if you haven't checked them out. When we think about our partner resources, we have a lot of great partners here in Burnsville that we have built relationships with. Open to Business is first on the list. You guys receive annual updates from our dedicated business advisor, Natalie, and we expect that to happen again next year as well. So they provide free, confidential, one-on-one business counseling and technical assistance hours to current and prospective entrepreneurs here in Burnsville. It's open to people who either have a business in Burnsville or are a resident of Burnsville and have a business located elsewhere. And they also have loan programs for startups and for established businesses. South Metro Score is another option for folks to utilize. They also provide free and confidential business counseling by phone, email, and in person. This is more of a mentor-based option for people. There's not necessarily one dedicated advisor. And they also conduct workshops for startup entrepreneurs and small business owners. We talked a little bit about the Burnsville Chamber already, but they are a membership organization that aims to represent and connect businesses serving Burnsville through partnership, advocacy, resources, and networking opportunities. And as I mentioned, they are our partner for the Grow Minnesota visits, and then certainly ribbon cuttings and various other events throughout the year that provide opportunities for businesses to connect. Experience Burnsville is our destination marketing organization for the city, and their mission is to enhance the appeal to residents and travelers by promoting and marketing local establishments. They have regular blog posts which highlight different businesses and attractions and things to do in Burnsville. And then they also maintain an events calendar, and they have a deals page where businesses can submit their information to. So another different way to get your information out there. The Department of Labor is also a partner of ours, and they have a grants page to help potential grantees learn about funding opportunities, and it describes kind of the programs that they have available, the target populations, the eligible applicants, and just kind of general overviews. So that's a great resource that I kind of keep in a draft email for when people ask me that type of question. The state of Minnesota also has a grants page, and you can search for grant opportunities both by state agency or by subject area. So that's kind of helpful for people who are in specific industries to kind of search that out. And then finally, the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, or DEED, they have a centrally located grants page as well. And additionally, they have a small business hub, which kind of has a lot of different resources for small businesses. So these are kind of the sampling of available resources that we most frequently recommend to people. And I will do my best to answer any questions you all might have about that.
comment versus a question, but that those Grow Minnesota business visits, those businesses do not have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
No, they don't. So we try to have a mix of chamber members and non-chamber members. Great question or comment.
Anything else?
Where do we find the Experience Burnsville blog?
It's located on their website. So their website is burnsvillemn.com.
Do you know who maintains it?
The executive director of Experience Burnsville manages that. Her name is Amy Burrill.
And her offices are right next to the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce office, as well as the SCORE office in the Better Business Bureau building.
That's correct.
I also have a shameless plug because I'm hosting one of the SCORE training sessions a week from tonight. So they do good programming. And I hope
Excellent.
next week's is good.
Glad to hear it.
All right, anything else? Okay, Beth, will you take it away on our strategic plan update?
Yes. All right, as a reminder, this is our existing strategic plan. We are still working on the updated framework and we'll provide updates to you as they become relevant. But tonight, these are on our existing goals, which you are all very familiar with. So goal 1 is ensuring the sustainability of the Burnsville Shopping Center and County Road 42 corridor. Kevin and I recently had the opportunity to meet with University of Minnesota landscape architecture class to discuss their project in reimagining the Burnsville Center through LEED neighborhood development sustainability guidelines. So their professor was part of the consultant team that helped us develop the Center Village vision 5 or so years ago. And so this is the project that he utilizes to help teach his class about landscape architecture. So this is the 3rd year that we've had the opportunity to engage with U of M students on this to highlight kind of our vibrancy and support their development in the landscape architecture or community development field. Big Air Trampoline Park is renovating the former PetSmart location located over by Chianti Grill. So they will be an indoor trampoline park.
Can you still bring your pets?
Probably only service animals.
I've got a cat I would throw in there, actually.
Not sure how that would go on the trampolines, but it might be fun to watch. And then Chick-fil-A has applied for a development application to construct a second drive-through lane and a new canopy structure at their location on the corner of County Road 42 and Burnhaven Drive. And this is set for City Council review on their November 19th meeting. And then you'll see an image of probably not the Burnsville location since it's not open yet, but another one of their locations. And then you can kind of see on the far right-hand side of the screen the canopy that will potentially go over the drive-through lane at Chick-fil-A. Goal 2 of improving the image of the school district and 191 in the city. City staff and elected officials were pleased to participate in the Manufacturing Month event held at Burnsville High School in October. The celebration included a Fab Lab tour and a manufacturing pathway program overview. And then it was really interesting, they also had a student panel of students participating in the manufacturing pathway to talk about their experience through the program. They talked about some of the internship opportunities that they've had and how they've learned to use all of the machines and equipment in the Fab Lab, which was very cool. So this was hosted by the Burnsville Chamber in partnership with School District 191.
You might not know the answer to this, Beth, but is there any sort of, I guess, precedent to the, having new charter schools opening up in the area and then the perception of the local school district? I'm just wondering, I noticed that more charter schools are popping up, and it just makes me wonder, when there's more choice in the area, does that improve, or does it not have, a relationship with the perception of the public schools, or what? Maybe you don't know.
Great question, and I think it would be fair to say that I don't know, and I wouldn't really know how to evaluate that. But certainly a reasonable question, and there have been more charter schools opening up. So there are more options for Burnsville families to consider.
I have a question tangentially related to the school.
Sure.
Can you speak to the development that's happening right by Diamond Head? There's all kinds of construction.
It's apartments.
Oh, is it? All right. I didn't see it was coming up.
No worries.
All right.
We'll
Thanks.
touch on both construction projects in
Perfect.
that area.
Thank you.
You bet. You'll see this photo here is a photo of Mayor Couts with Jennifer Harmoning. She's the president of the Burnsville Chamber. And Mayor Couts was reading a proclamation to the Manufacturing Pathways students to help them celebrate Manufacturing Month. Moving on to existing goal 3, continuing development within heart of the city. So, Roars Companies currently is constructing a 170-unit apartment building on the former, what's the address? 175 and 201 Burnsville Parkway, so that's across the street from Diamond Head. And then on the Diamond Head site, MWF Properties is constructing a 48-unit apartment building, and both of those have obviously broken ground. So,
Are these market rate or low-income housing tax credit properties?
I believe they're both tax credit.
Both of them.
Yep. Good question. Goal 4, enhancing and building awareness around the city's existing housing and commercial programs and developing new programs as appropriate. We talked about open to business a little while ago, and Q3 reporting has provided 24 businesses and 14 residents being served by open to business. And then we also held an economic development strategic framework open house or workshop. So the framework itself falls under our community vibrancy strategic priority. And at the workshop, it was an open dialogue style event with no formal presentation. And there were a couple of interactive activities for folks that attended to provide feedback on the draft objectives, which you all heard about at our last meeting. Related to that, the story map on our website is updated with this current information, and then there is a survey that is open for folks to provide feedback on the objectives as well. So they remain unchanged from when I updated you at our last meeting, but certainly continuing to keep that window for feedback open. And finally, goal 5, continuing the city's position as a regional destination. So we were fortunate to attend the 17th annual MinCar Expo again this year. So the city has a booth. This year specifically, we were able to market the 2 pieces of land that were recently released for solicitation of offer or sale. One of which being the former fire station land near Costco and Kohl's, and then the other parcel is on the corner of South Cross and Portland. So the former fire station land would be looking at mixed-use zoning, very flexible retail, office, multifamily, and then the South Cross and Portland land is more of a townhome style development concept. So we have both of those properties open for offers through November 29th. So we're excited to see what comes of that. And then we also were very excited to celebrate with ribbon cuttings for the Spa by Amber Bud Atelier. They moved into a new location a little bit further down Nicollet. E.O. Johnson Technologies, Safe Harbor Estate Law, and then most recently Farmers Insurance, David Harris. So you'll see a picture of our Community Development Director, Jeff Thompson, and I in our booth at MinCar, and then a ribbon cutting photo as well. And that concludes the strategic plan update. So we'll transition quickly for questions. A reminder about the survey that if you haven't provided or want to provide more feedback, I invite you to go on our website and check that out. Excuse me. And then our next meeting will be January 8th.
All right, Beth, would you like to introduce us to our new Deputy Community Development Director?
I would. Yeah. Sure. So, we've had some staffing changes in our department, all very positive. Travis is joining us as our Deputy Community Development Director. And I believe it's your 7th day.
Yeah, day number
So,
7.
Yeah.
So, good evening, Commissioners, Madam Chair. Travis Bistodeau. So, a previous director of mine liked to use the mnemonic tool Bistodeau, supporting business within the city. I come to you from the city of St. Paul, where I served as a deputy director, both of the Department of Safety and Inspections for about 6.5 years, where I oversaw construction services, rental housing, and code enforcement. And then for the past 3.5 years, I served as deputy director, for the Department of Planning and Economic Development. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm also a 19-year resident, don't hold it against me, of the city of Bloomington, but I consider Burnsville to kind of be my neighborhood, so I'm really excited to do this work here. I have an open door policy with staff. If I had business cards ready to go yet, I would give them to you, but don't be afraid to reach out to me directly or to Beth, or if you have questions in the community and folks are interested in learning about the programs or have suggestions on how we can do our work better, please feel free to share that information with the folks you interact with. So happy to stand for questions if you all have any, but yeah, day number 7.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Really excited to be here.
All right, any questions for Travis? All right, thanks, Travis. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're just moving to a reminder. I think you already did our updates, right, Beth?
Yeah,
So
kind of an
we're
order,
moving to a
sorry.
reminder that the next Economic Development Commission meeting is scheduled for January 8th, 2025. At this time, I'd like to request a motion for the adjournment of the November 13th, 2024 Economic Development Commission meeting.
I will make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Nays? Abstained? Okay, motion carried.